Welcome back to the 1,000 Hour Challenge. We are still in Biloxi, Mississippi. We're about to go, as you can see, the IP Casino. Here in Biloxi, we're about to jump in, 1-3 game, uncapped. We're gonna see if we can run it up. I'm gonna go over some hands. Spoiler alert, not gonna look good in a bunch of them, but let's see how we turned out. This session was the longest session that I've played so far in a 1,000 Hour Challenge, over 8.5 hours of trying to grind out profits and build this 1,000 Hour Challenge bankroll up. So without further ado, let's jump in there, go over some hands and see how we finish. Thank you for watching. All right, let's jump right into it. I said I was gonna keep this channel 100. I'm about to throw three videos of 3 different sessions. We're gonna start out in Biloxi. We got 2 sessions from coming there. Then I came back home and came to Florida. I wanna be transparent, and this is kind of embarrassing. I am playing some of the worst poker I've ever played in my life. It's bigger than wins and losses. It's about how I'm playing, what I'm capable of doing, and what is going wrong. But I took a long break from playing. When I came back to do it, I knew it was going to be some bumps in the road. I just didn't think that it would be as bumpy as it's been. The great thing about doing this 1,000 Hour Challenge and bringing it to you here on YouTube is I got to face it. I can't make excuses for it. I can't hide from it. I got to come to y'all, keep it real, keep it 100. So let's go into the second day. I was in Biloxi, Mississippi playing, and I want to show y'all a few hands, and then we'll go over the results for this session. But I believe these few hands I show you will show you why I believe I'm playing so bad. And the very last hand, I want everybody's comments because this hand really put me in the blender. And I'm going to give y'all all the dynamics and let y'all tell me what y'all would have done because I'm super interested because honestly, this one spot, I'm not sure if I did the right thing or the wrong thing. So let's jump right in. We're playing 1-3 at the IP Casino in Biloxi, Mississippi. When we get ace 7 of hearts in the cutoff, under the gun 1 folds, under the gun 2 folds. The main villain in the hand opens up to 6. This is pretty much just a min raise. Folds over to me. Now in the cutoff right here, I'm going to call because I like to play these type of hands against passive opponents like this, trying to flush over flush people. I could be 3-betting here and building a pot. I would like a 3-bet here better if it was more like an ace and a wheel card, like ace 5, ace 4, ace 3, ace deuce, especially ace 5. But I go ahead and take the passive route. This is one of the things that is getting me in a lot of trouble is being too passive because a few reasons. One, I've been coolered so much lately that I really do have that monsters under the bed mentality that I have got to shake. As I go through these next few videos, you're going to see it. All right, so I just call, as I said, the button folds, small blind folds, and the big blind comes along. And we go to a flop of king, queen of hearts, 7 of clubs. This is an absolute great flop. We have the nut flush draw. I got bottom pair. We're in a good situation right here. The big blind goes ahead and checks. There's 19 in the pot. The villain bets pretty much 2/3. Or 3/4. He bets 15. I could raise here, and there's nothing wrong with raising here. I chose again to take the passive route, and I just call in position. Big blind gets out of the way, and now we go to a turn. The turn brings in the 5 of hearts. I hit the nut flush here. There's pretty much $49 in the pot, almost $50. And the villain goes ahead and leads out again for half pot to 25. All right, so I didn't raise last time. I definitely got to raise and start getting value for my hand. I don't want to go too big and scare these passive there are definitely more passive players in the game that I'm in. So I don't want to scare them off, so I don't want to go too big. I end up going to 55. He calls. The one thing I want to say here is I probably should have went 60, 65, but I'm okay with this. Like I said, these players are very passive. They don't like to put money in unless they got big hands. So we go ahead and go to a river, which is an 8 of hearts. This is an absolute terrible card because it's going to kill so many of my action if he has hands like 2 pair or anything like that. The problem is it would be different if, say, the board was like queen jack and maybe possibly he had like king queen with a king of hearts and now had the second nut flush draw. But now the best type of flush he could have is jack 10 or a jack of hearts or something like that. And probably he ain't leading those hands like he did. So like king jack with a jack of hearts is the best thing I can hope for here. He ends up checking, and now I go ahead and I'm going to down bet and just try to get a crawling call, just get him to look me up, because I know at this point it's really hard for him to call with anything unless he has exactly the jack of hearts. So I bet 35, which is super small. I'm trying to do two different things here. In the moment, I'm just trying to get a call, to be honest with y'all. But if I bet small, maybe he would go go crazy and try to check raise me. But that's kind of ambitious because of the player types I just told you about. Everybody is so passive. He ends up folding, and that's all the value we get there. The main question I'd ask y'all, should I be pushing equity on the flop? I believe there's a good time that I should be doing that. But in the moment, like I said, I'm playing super passive. I ain't been hitting draws, so maybe lost some value, but we scoop up a nice pot, and it gives me a little bit of confidence before we go into the next hand. All right, let's go into the next hand. In this hand, I have jacks in the small blind. This is going to be a perfect example of a hand where I'm just playing way too passive, too worried about monsters under the bed. So let's jump right into this one. So embarrassed by somehow looking back. I mean, when you're in the moment, when you're going through trying to build your mental game back up, it's a little tougher than just sitting back now and going over the hands and being like, man, I played so bad. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. Under the gun folds. The villain opens to 10 and under the gun +2. Middle position gets out the way. Low jack, high jack, cutoff, and button all fold. It comes to me. I'm out of position here. I need to be 3-betting here at a super high percentage. This is where I should be bumping it up to 30 to 35 and definitely not letting the big blind come along because I'm giving him an amazing price. But like I said, I'm just playing passive. I'm playing scared. I'm so worried that as soon as I raise, the dude's going to jam on me and I'm going to be put in a blender. Terrible mindset. Terrible mindset. Everything I'm saying right now, do opposite of how I played this hand, please. This is terrible. So I go ahead and call. Of course, the big blind comes around. And now we go to a flop of jack, 10, 9. Now, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If I 3-bet, I could definitely get the big blind out of there who could have any 2 cards. And also, I could really define more of what the under the gun 2 opened with. At this point, he could be opening with anything. So, I mean, not anything, but y'all know what I mean. He could have all your suited broadways. He could have anything, pocket pairs. He could have anything. So I really don't know what he has. Now there's 30 in the pot. And this is actually a super connected board. I know top set looks amazing, and it is a great hand. But either one of these opponents could very easily have flopped a better hand, flop the nuts. 7, 8 could be in either one of their ranges. King, queen could definitely be in their range. I end up my plan here is to go ahead and check. Hopefully the villain continues, and then I'm going to check raise. So I check in the small blind, the big blind, and then the villain, the original raiser, checks. Also, we go to a turn. Now, before I go into this turn card, I want to start talking about if I would have 3-bet, yeah, granted, I could have continuation bet and everybody could have folded and we wouldn't have got no value. That could be a thing, but we would already have more money than what we have right now. So as you can see, this hand is definitely going awry. So I continue with my passive play, hoping to finally get the check raise in. And now the big blind leads for 15. The villain gets out of the way. And now this right here, Hatter, it's clear. Hit him with the check raise. It's time to hit him with the check raise. Do I do it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would like to sit here and say in that moment that I just felt like he didn't really have much and I was just trying to get him to the river and let him bluff it off. But I'm going to be honest with you. No. I don't know what I'm doing. Looking back at this hand, I am truly embarrassed to be here on YouTube saying that I play poker and I'm a winning poker player and have results to do it, played on live streams and played like absolute trash since I've got back to playing. This is atrocious, but I'm going to be real with y'all. So we go ahead and go to a river. Sorry, got ahead of myself there. We go to the river, which is 9 of diamonds. Now I have a full house. And now that I have pretty much the nuts, unless I run into quads again, now I feel like, hey, let's go ahead and bet. Yeah, what am I doing? Anyways, so I bet 35, small wager. He calls. Now, I didn't put it up here. I forgot to put it in when I was putting this hand together. He ends up showing ace-queen offsuit. He called me with ace-queen offsuit. This is how much these players are looking at me and are so confused on how I'm doing, apparently, and have no faith in me. They think that I am bluffing. I never have a bluff here. This is, I don't know. Maybe the dude just was charity casing me there. But Destroy me in the comments for this hand. Just destroy me. I deserve every bit of it. Played it terrible. Let's go to the third hand. Man, I'm getting sick just playing these hands back, to be honest with y'all. The third hand that we're going to go over, I want to talk about the guy in the button. His name is Roger. Being from Florida, I would have never known who this dude was. If you go back to my previous episode, I played at the IP and I heard all the players talking about Roger and how Roger got aces cracked 5 times because he does not raise with them. He traps with everything, and it's like it's amazing. Like that I know, and I've played with this dude. At this point, I've played with him for 3-4 hours. This dude is only playing the nuts, y'all. That is all he is playing. So let's go ahead and jump into the hand. With me telling you how Roger is, tell me what y'all would have done. So under the gun folds, under the gun 2 limps in, low jack limps in, Roger limps in, and I go ahead and limp in here with King 6 of spades, hoping to hit a flush in a limp pot. This is just bad. I know a lot of people are like, well, you can hit the second nut flush. Yeah, but this is how you get into messes, and I know better. And you're going to see in the coming episodes, like, I don't learn from this moment right here. So big blind raises to 10, which is actually pretty good. But when everybody else calls, of course I'm going to come around because now I just feel like I'm getting such great pot odds. And we go to a flop of King 7 8. Now, I flop top pair, got some back doors here. Wish there was a spade on the board, but there's not. So in this point, there's definitely so many hands that beat me. So I go ahead and check and flow. Big blind checks now, and it's going to go ahead and check all the way around. So now I have top pair, weak kicker, and we're going to a turn where we hit the 6 of clubs. All right. Now on the surface, this looks like an amazing card. Now I have 2 pair. This is where, in the moment, I sort of get blinded by my hand. I don't mind with what I do here. I go ahead and lead into the field. It's time to try to see if someone has anything and start getting value if I have a better 2 pair. If someone had like 7-6, 8-6, or something like that. There's a lot of hands that could be out there. Also, there could be sets. There could be straights. There's a lot of hands that could beat me too. So I go ahead and bet 15, which is super small. I should probably go in a little bit bigger here, trying to find out what I want to do and get other people out of there and not have the whole table drawing at me. Once again, terrible sizing. This is just rustiness and trying to get back in flow. They say playing poker is like riding a bike. Well, I've crashing the bike over and over and over again. So it folds around to Roger. Roger calls for 15. At this moment, there's a little bit of me looking at him like, man, what could he have? But as I said, this is the same person that slow plays aces. He could have kings here, even though shouldn't be. There's only one combo of kings he could have. So when he calls, the alarm bells should definitely be going off. So I pretty much just block bet here. I bet 15 again. And to be honest with you, I could just check here. But the problem is I'm trying to get to showdown as cheaply as possible. Nothing changes with the 2 of spades. So when he calls, I already know I'm beat. And you're like, how do you know you're beat? I just know it. With this player opponent, he's never bluffing. He has got probably a really big hand. And when I show you what he has, he ends up having 5-4. So he turns the straight. He never raises. These are the type of opponents that you're going to run into a lot. And this is why bluffing at low stakes can get you into so much trouble. Because if I did not know this opponent, I could have barreled against this guy, thinking that he had a worse 2 pair or a lot of other things he could have. But this right here, I mean, when he calls, this is how crazy this is. If he had the nut flush draw, I think he would have folded on the turn. That's the type of opponent I'm talking about, and I played right into his hand. So let's go ahead and move on. All right, this is going to be the 4th hand, and to be honest with you, this is probably the only hand that I can actually say that I feel like I played somewhat well. I got pocket aces. Under the gun. I'm definitely not going to try nothing crazy here like limp trapping or anything like that. As you see, my stack is going up. Even though as bad as I'm playing, I'm still winning. I raised the 15. Under the gun folds. Excuse me. Middle position calls. Low jack folds. Hijack, who's going to be the main villain in this hand, calls. Cutoff calls. Button calls. Small blind folds. Big blind folds. When we go to a flop, this is actually pretty good. We got a nice little pot brewing. It comes 6 of diamonds, 3 of hearts, 2 of diamonds. All right, so let's think about this. More than likely, Hands, both opponents could definitely have flopped a set here. Calling with 6s, 3s, and 2s, pretty good. There shouldn't be many 2-pair combos, maybe 6-3 suited, but there's not many combos of that. The biggest hand you really got to worry about right here is 4-5 suited, but we can't worry about that. There's going to be a lot of over pairs too that we can get value from. With 50 in the pot, I don't like my sizing here. We're going into 2 opponents. I end up only betting 20. I would like to go a little bigger here, at least half pot or a little more. Once again, sizing, all this going back in game time, outside of game time and looking back, this is how I'm going to make my corrections, and this is definitely the best way that I've always got better, is going over hands that I've played and trying to grow that way. This is how I became a lot better before, and this is how I'm going to hopefully get back on track and do way better than what I'm doing, because this is embarrassing. So anyways, I bet 20. Mill position gets out of the way. Hijack calls pretty quickly. And we're going to go to a turn now with 86, 89 in the pot, and it's the 2 of clubs. So this is an absolute great card. Could he have like ace-2 suited or something? No, he cannot, because I block all of it. So I ain't got to worry about that hand. And it's more, and for him to have like a 2 in his range is very unlikely. So now I'm in a situation where he either has 2 types of hands. He either has an overpair, which we might be able to still get value from, or he has a draw, which this is where I kind of go in there, or I'm way behind. Like he's flopped a set or flopped a straight and he's way ahead of me. But with the draws on there, I feel like if he would have done that, he probably would have raised the flop. So I end up getting a little tricky here. I don't think he has a draw in the moment. So I want to give him, and if he does have a draw, I want to play this like I have ace-king. The line I'm taking here is how opponents would feel if I had ace-king, ace-queen, 2 overcards, and I miss the flop, I c-bet, and then I shut down. That's what I want him to think. This is why I'm going to throw a check in here. I check, and he goes ahead and takes the betting lead for 30. Now, I'm going to go ahead, think for just a second, and call. Now, when he pushed the 30 out there and I call, he has already slid out his last 48 before the river even is shown. The river comes the jack of hearts, which should not change anything unless he had pocket jacks exactly, which seems like he would have got way more aggressive with that early on. So we should be good here unless he flopped an absolute monster. All the draws miss everything. So when he slides out, of course, we're going to snap him off. And he ends up having jack 9 of diamonds here. So he ends up getting a pair at the end. So even though he was just going to bluff the river, he ends up getting a value hand, even though pocket aces are going to hold up right here. This hand is about the only hand, looking back at the ones that I'm showing you, that I played what I think is halfway decent. So now let's go to the 5th and final hand of this session. And it's the one that I have the most questions about. And I'm going to try to go into some details. So to give y'all a better idea when y'all put in the comments what y'all think I did, if I did the right thing or the wrong thing, because this last hand is kind of crazy. So let's get right to it. All right, this is going to be the final hand of this session. And at this point, at about the 6.5 hour mark, I really was starting to feel it. Like I said, I've just been getting back into playing, and longer sessions and trying to force these hours is a problem that I've got to figure out. Here lately, I've been trying to force myself. You'll see me talk about this in another video coming out in the next few days, because I'm going to drop all 3 of the sessions so I can get caught up to the present day in the next few days. But this hand right here is super interesting. At this point, this session, we ended up playing 8.5 hours. We're trying to make it to 11 when they have this big promotion where you can win up to $1,400. That's the only reason I'm staying there, which is not the greatest idea, but it is what it is. It does not change the fact of how this hand was played or anything like that. Just putting it out there that this is deep into the session. Probably more than that. I want to say it's probably over 7 hours into the session. The guy to the left of me, the OMC right here, I have played with him the whole session. I want that to be known as this hand goes in. Me and him have been playing at this table since it opened. So with that being said, I want to start off by saying I have not really seen this dude get out of line much. Now, up into this hand, the last 3 hands before this, he absolutely sun-runned. He got so lucky in 2 different spots. One, he hit a flush on a river. Another one, he ended up set over setting someone when he hit a bigger set on the river after a guy was trying to trap when he flopped a set. He was betting kind of, aggressively, but in them hands that he was betting aggressively, he had a ton of equity. And when he did go for the bigger bets, he had the hand made. So I want to put that out there. I've not seen him pull what I would consider a bluff all day long. So keep that in mind. Not saying he's not the super tightest person, but I just have not seen him capable of that yet. But let's go into the hand. So under the gun folds, under the gun 2 folds, middle position, low jack. Hijack's going to limp in, cut off folds, button folds. I'm going to go ahead and raise here in the small blind. Definitely don't want to play ace king out of position in a limp pot. So I go ahead and make it 15. I probably should go a little bit higher here. Maybe I should be going 20 because of the limper. But, I mean, all these sizings are so different at these small games. It's weird. The OMC in the big blind goes ahead and calls, and hijack gets out of the way. And the flop comes queen of spades, 10 of spades, 7 of spades. I got the king of spades and the ace of hearts here. I could be leading here, and looking back, I wish I would have played this hand a little bit more aggressive. But I want to talk about my image. Yes, I've been passive, as y'all have seen, but with him being there watching me all day, anytime that I have put money in the pot, I pretty much had the goods. I've not shown a bluff either all day that I can remember at this moment. I don't think I had. If I did bluff, it was like a semi-bluff when I had like a lot of equity. There was a couple of hands early on that you could say that I bluffed with. Like I had ace king and I 3-bet, c-bet and folded. That's not a bluff. That's just a continuation bet. I don't look at that as really a bluff. Bluffs to me is when you can go multiple streets and pull it off, in my humble opinion. So there we go. I end up checking here to see what he's going to do. I mean, I got tons of outs here. I got jack make me a straight. And also, I just want to see what he's going to do because there's a lot of banter going on before the hand. That's another thing I want to talk about. I would like when I raised and he called, I made the comment about, man, I definitely don't want to play a big pot against a guy that's running hot or something to that thing. So he bets 25. I quickly call, and the turn is the 2 of spades. This is where this hand gets really weird. Now, this should be an amazing card for me. I could go check call again, but I don't want it to go check just in case of something weird happening, flop 2 pair or a set. I definitely want to get value. So I bet 25, and now everything about him kind of changes. Like the whole vibe all day, me and him talking back and forth, like everything changes, and he gets like this weird, like laughing, like nervous laughter going on. And he's telling me, I got pocket threes. Is a 3 high flush any good? And like everything he's saying is just not adding up to me at all. Like just does not seem right. Just something is off here, and not in the off of the way of a good way. Like there's just like, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but he goes through like a good long speech for a while, and like everybody at the table, like they've noticed that this is weird, and he keeps on having this nervous laughter. And at this point I'm like, man, just something ain't right here. So he goes ahead and finally calls. The river comes a 5 of diamonds, which doesn't change anything. And at this point, all I can think about is what happened on the turn. Now, in real time, looking back at this, I should just go ahead and continue my aggression and put a value bet out there. Maybe like 75, maybe even 100, something like that. But just something is off. Like, I don't know. Like, if you're a poker player, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you just get that feeling like, man, something ain't right. And I check, and out of nowhere, with 133 in the pot, he goes all in for 585. I really want to know, what would y'all do here? Because I don't know. Like maybe now I'm going to tell you, I end up showing the king of spades and folding. I end up folding this hand. And I know I'm probably going to get ate up in the comments for this. But in my mind, I just don't think I'm ever good here because of what went on playing live poker. Now, I've went and told y'all all through this episode that I feel like I played like trash. I'm not sticking up for myself. I'm embarrassed how I was playing. But I just don't think this guy is bluffing with this amount. I just don't think so. Now, why, if he had, when because he swears up and down he has pocket threes, he never shows. He swears up and down until the night's over that he had pocket threes. I don't believe it, because I don't think pocket threes is betting the flop like that, even with the 3 of spades. I don't think, like his line does not make sense to me. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. And then when I end up folding and he swears up and down, he never shows it. First off, if you would have bluffed me in that situation, he should definitely be showing it to get credit, because he knows I'm about ready to leave. I'd already made it clear that, hey, the promotions, I'm going to be gone. Like, I don't think it's a bluff. Now, I know a lot of people get in there and be like, well, if he had the ace, why wouldn't he down bet and just, go for thin value? Maybe for whatever reason he thought that he knew that maybe I had a lower spade. I know he said, I didn't think you had the king of spades, which makes me think that he did this over bet with the ace of spades. And I believe he had ace 3 of spades is the hand I think he really had. I think that's why he kept on talking about the 3 of spades. I think he had ace 3 of spades is what I believe he had. Could I be wrong? 100% I could be wrong. But y'all tell me, because this hand's, like, I'm going to be honest with you. This is me as a poker player. And to let y'all in this crazy head of mine, because my mind is definitely not it's different up there. There are a lot of crazy stuff going on up there. But I probably thought about this hand for 6-7 hours. Laying in bed, could not sleep, thinking about this hand. This is my problem with poker. This is why it can tear me up. I talked to some of my friends. A lot of them were like, they felt the same way. But y'all tell me what y'all think. Another thing I will say, and the reason I think he had ace 3 of spades, and I'll end it like this before we go over the results, is I believe that the more I talked to him, at first, there was a part of me like, dang, did I really let this dude bluff me off this hand? And the more I talked to him, the more he started to change the story. And usually when people start to change their story, they're usually lying. But forget about all of that. Tell me, 2-part question. Me telling you what I told you about the situation, would you have called or folded? And if you had none of the table dynamics I gave you, would you have called this in just theory alone? I appreciate it. Like I said, I know I'm playing bad, y'all. I'm not here to make it up and make excuses, because it's all on me. It's accountability. And if you're going to be a poker player, you got to take self-accountability, and I'm playing terrible. So let's just go ahead and go over the results of this one session. I'm not going to go over the total bankroll, because I'm going to have 3 episodes coming out pretty rapidly, and then we'll get caught up to present day, and I'll tell you where the bankroll is overall. Excuse me. So we ended up playing 8 hours and 34 minutes, and we end up booking a $181 profit. As y'all know, I was up over 600, got down and cashed out for 481. I bled some at the end I shouldn't have. Still $21 an hour is fine. I would like to be around that number, to be honest with you. Somewhere between 20 and 30 I'll be happy with. Anything less, I'm going to be disappointed in myself. Anything over $30 an hour, I'm going to be super excited about. I'm going to be super disappointed in myself if I don't start playing better. So please like, subscribe, share these videos with your friends. If they're starting out in poker, these videos are not going to be good for someone that's a 5'10 crusher or a 2'5 crusher. They're probably not going to like my material and my content. But if you're just an average recreational player or know people like that, they'd probably like my content, because this is the kind of stuff that low stakes players usually relate to. So I'll see y'all next time. Like I said, 2 more videos will be coming out. We got one from where we go to the Beau Rivage and I play a session down there. And there is a crazy, crazy hand that happens in that one that y'all will love. I didn't love, but y'all will love. And then just the other day, I went back to the House of Horrors and had, not to ruin it, one of the swingiest meltdowns I've had in probably the last 3 years playing poker. So stay tuned. I'll see y'all next time.